Notre Dame scored 5 touchdowns in the second quarter. 3 of them counted as Notre Dame goes on to take a 35-14 victory over the visitors from Virginia. This is Irish Illustrated's Instant Analysis, brought to you by RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame in Elkhart, Indiana. Guys, that game was trudging along midway through the second quarter when all of a sudden the fireworks started. Notre Dame's getting in the end zone right and left. They're going to penalties called against them, but it didn't detract from their performance in the second and third quarter, where Virginia has been bad all year. Notre Dame took full advantage of it.
Well, fortunately, all 3 interceptions of the second quarter did count, and that's what helped a lot to blow that game open by halftime. Adon Schuler, Xavier Watts, Leonard Moore, and the best news out of that, Leonard Moore took a shot and came back into play. I was already concerned about next week because he grabbed his neck right away. The defense is fantastic. It's 3-and-out city or turnover city. Quality effort by the subs, but you could feel that last touchdown coming, and I do think 35-7 would have made a bigger statement. But you know what? I think they've made enough statements, and this is Pete Sampson's stat. I don't want to steal it. I'm going to use it from him, though. That touchdown stopped Notre Dame from, in their 8-game winning streak, laying the biggest beating on their opponent of the season throughout that 8th game winning streak, just because of that last touchdown at the end. But they are still handling business.
JB, Notre Dame's a +9 in the turnover department just against Navy and Virginia. +3 tonight, 5 turnovers forced. Riley Leonard's interception streak ended at 93. He now has a 90 and a 93 on the season. But the turnovers keep coming for this Notre Dame defense.
They do, and they're playing as well, if not better, than any other defense anywhere in college football. Just another dominant performance, and honestly, if not for a controversial read-blown call on a pass reception late in the third quarter that led to Virginia's first touchdown, I'm not sure that Virginia would have scored, because I think Notre Dame would have hunkered down a bit more later in the game to preserve the shutout. But just as we talked pregame, before I give it back to you, TP, we said special teams need to set Notre Dame up with a short field some today. Opening play of the game, special teams sets Notre Dame up with a short field.
No doubt. Tim, we said Marcus Freeman needs to call timeout, so they could replay that, that incompletion, the non-catch. But he didn't, and it led to it. But again, Notre Dame 448 yards total offense. Virginia, the first team this year to reach 300 yards total offense, right on the button, 300, and a lot of that was picked up, down the stretch in that final drive. But Jeremiah Love, 16 carries, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. This guy is tremendous.
Yeah, 77 yards on that last drive by Virginia. Great. JB, you called it. Jeremiah Love was going to have a breakout game. The best part was on that long run. I actually had it in binoculars from handoff to end zone. He just kept accelerating until I told Tim Priester, until he decided to slow down a little bit to tell the guy about it. He is a fantastic all-around player, because he is not just, he breaks away once in a while, or he's their short yardage guy. He's fantastic in pass protection, and his body, he throws his body out there. He was the MVP of today's game. I know Riley Leonard's been the MVP since game 2, but Jeremiah Love really made him tick today.
I thought he was excellent today. That's 11 consecutive games now with the touchdown for Jeremiah Love. A fancy celebration that we saw that the cameras did a little bit better job of showcasing today. And then we all knew he had breakaway speed. I loved the fact that Jeremiah Love said postgame, "I've got breakaway speed."
We all know that. He proves that every single week. The one real negative, Notre Dame 1 for 12 on third down. If they convert a handful more, this is a real blowout.
Well, it was a strange game because Notre Dame had 9 series in which they had either 4 or 3 total snaps. They scored touchdowns on 4 of them. The others were, of course, 3-and-outs. You can't mix that in. I haven't seen that from this team. It happened last year against NC State in Jared Parker's offense, so they had 6 touchdowns and 6 3-and-outs, and he even mentioned, I've never seen anything like that. It's not a recipe for success, because that's too many 3-and-outs, too many punts. 6 touchdowns usually is, but that is too many 3-and-outs. I don't think that would work against a better offense. At some point, you could see that Notre Dame completely had Virginia under control. But it's, as Marcus Freeman says, look at the tape. There's something to clean up. There's a lot more to clean up in this blowout win than there have been in the others.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Anthony Calandrea, there were some things that you saw on film that were impressive. Notre Dame made him very, very unimpressive today. He was yanked at halftime by Tony Elliott. They put in Tony Muskett. But ultimately, and this was a tendency that Virginia showed going in, really good in the first quarter, really good in the fourth quarter, really bad in the middle quarters. And again, 28 of Notre Dame's 35 points were scored in the second and third quarter.
Yeah, and we talked pregame that Colandrea could be forced into bad decisions. Notre Dame forced and baited him into some bad decisions. Complimentary football overall today. A great point, though, on the third downs. What bothers me, and we'll dive more into this in overtime and across the coming week, those kind of 3-and-outs with that proclivity against an Army can really put you in a bad spot because Army's offense is designed to kind of lay on you and stay on the field as much as possible.
I was thinking about this the other day. Marcus Freeman started out 0-3. His overall record is 28-9, but since that 0-3 start, he is 28-6. He's in the 83% winning percentage range, and I realize they're not playing upper echelon, SEC teams or Big Ten teams, but they're beating the daylights out of people, and this has been going on for 2 months.
Right, that's the most important thing. They're not squeaking by in these games. They've looked like the better team in all of these games, and in the Texas A&M game they were a better team as well. They didn't look like the better team in the game they lost. It's not time to rewrite history. They lost all 3 phases of that game. It's pretty clear they're one of the top 8 teams in the country. Are they one of the top 5? I think so. If they were healthier, I think they would be one of the top 3. I think eventually some of these injuries are going to catch up when you can play a team that can throw or run or stop you. But they're playing who they're playing, and they're handling their business pretty easily.
One of the narratives going in was Howard Cross being out, and you figured that Pace and Brown would hurt Notre Dame. They did not. Donovan Heinisch steps up once again, and that interior defensive line did a great job of shutting down the running game.
Yeah, and I thought the linebackers were really active today. I don't know how many snaps we'll find out tomorrow. I remember Jalen Sneed, though, having a really big stop for Notre Dame. Heinisch really played all over the field. Again, we talked about him pregame. He had a good week of practice. They love his motor. I think his teammates kind of feed off of that as well. Not that Notre Dame's lacking for energy, but this guy's just sort of an animal out there.
Jack Kaiser sets a Notre Dame record, 63 games in a Notre Dame uniform. Incredible. It takes a pandemic and 6 years to do it, but he's done it, and what a great representative of the University of Notre Dame. That's it. Notre Dame 35, Virginia 14.